All right, good morning. Bright and early here. Got done late. I was up later last night than I have been in 2 years. So we played Task Force Raven. This is the Savage Worlds version. We played Task Force Raven's new Year Zero version, and let me tell you, it was fantastic. So we played with the author, designer, writer of this here book, Scott. He can be found on YouTube at Year Zero Hero. Um, I had not played a Year Zero game um, in, oh my God, 5 years, maybe 6 years. Last time I ran a Year Zero game, I was running Forbidden Lands, and I ended up running it here on Roleplay's channel. Of Forbidden Lands with Dell and played in a Forbidden Lands that Brian ran for us on the channel. That was my first actual uh, exposure to the dice pool version. This particular version, Scott's using the step die, which I appreciate more than the dice pool. Anytime dice pools can get into the teens, I lose interest in the game, right? So one of the reasons I don't play Forbidden Lands much is I just don't want to see these big dice pools. I didn't know they had come up with a step dice system, and so I was thrilled that we were playing it because I like the Year Zero engine. Um, I just don't have an opportunity to play it much. Anyway, and Scott said, "Yeah, we're doing that, and we're using the dice pool version, which I think is a fantastic answer to the dice pool um, dice bloat, potential dice bloat dealio, right? So, okay. So what is Task Force Raven? Well, the conceit is we are operatives. We are a special unit. We are spec operators. We can come from all branches of the military. We are organized under an umbrella Raven, and we are tasked with dealing technically with the cryptids or with otherworldly phenomenon, but not so much in capturing or rescuing, but maybe in eliminating, collecting intel and data. And so that's the basic conceit. You're making a veteran, a soldier who is a tier one operator, and you're in this special unit under the Raven umbrella. There are some things that he does uh, in this particular work that is fantastic. One, he sets expectations by using military jargon. He also provides multiple pages. I don't know how many pages of military jargon. You know, the military uses a lot of acronyms, right? ASAP, ROE, AAR, right? I mean, so he gives you those what those are, defines them, and what you use them for, and kind of sets an expectation throughout the book that this is it, and you can play it obviously attempting to utilize that jargon or not, but I think it's important that he adheres to it because it sets an expectation that this is kind of what we're doing. And it reminds you that we're actually supposed to be real humans, real soldiers, and real units undergoing these missions against otherworldly stuff. And I think it's important that things are grounded in that realism because it makes the otherworldly, that much more effective, right? When I say to you, we're going to play fantasy, you already say, oh, there's going to be dragons, there's going to be monsters, right? And then fantasy book starts off with all these assumptions that we all know that there's magic and right. So for me not to do that, you have to define the game differently. And part of that is adherence to the detail of reality that is modern warfare, so to speak. And so I love that. There are eight spec ops choices, eight operatives uh, operators, excuse me, eight operators. And I happened to go TAC Air, and Dell went Canine. And Dell chose, 2 minutes before we started. So Dell's lucky here. He's had an opportunity to play with Scott before. He had an opportunity to play this exact version at a convention live at a table with Scott, where he couldn't lip off, couldn't talk smack, because then, Scott could put him in his place. So Dell had to be very well behaved, I'm sure, in that environment. Now, point is, Dell had uh, the opportunity and a wonderful chance to meet Scott and to play this game with Scott live. So he already really understood the game, understood the conceits, and was came to the table. All he needed was, hey, I need a canine unit. Let's get this on the roll. And of course, he's been playing the Year Zero engine for a long time. He just wrapped up an Alien campaign with John and Company for. I mean, I think they did that for over a year. So Dell is very comfortable with the Year Zero engine, and I don't know if he's done the step dive version, but he's comfortable with what's going on as far as pushing and all that kind of stuff. Uh, okay. So I'm not going to go into the Year Zero engine. For those of you who know, you know. If you don't know, you can get the SRD free and read about what this is all about. But there you have it. So Scott again does a couple of things that I really, really appreciate. One, we start off before our briefing. Now he sent out a briefing in Discord, so we kind of knew what was coming. And he did it in military jargon. So it is literally a message, a military message, military coded jargon with a ROE card attached, which is rules of engagement. And so my mindset was already going on Discord a week before we played this game. So I was already getting into the mindset. Um, so he does, at the beginning of a session, like many of us do, we kind of say, if you want to introduce your character, tell us about your character a little bit. Well, Scott's put a spin on that. He's turned that into a portion of the game in which you describe who your soldier is, his psyche, his profile, his look, his former civilian job, or even a current civilian job. I suppose you could have a civilian job and do this too. Don't know about that, but anyway. And as you describe that character, everybody at the table listens to your short story of who your character is, and then they decide to give you your handle. You do not get to pick your nickname, your handle, and so that is a fantastic. So one, it it creates this it creates this desired effect, a simulation, so to speak, that we all have been together in a unit for a while. We're a team. And telling of our character, in a way, simulates this sense that they all have gotten to know each other, and at some point they have stuck a moniker on you. They've stuck a handle on you. And so that this is a fantastic beginning, right? And then we do our loadout. And in the loadout is where you select your main battle weapon, your secondary weapon, your blade, and then your grenades. And you get your basic gear, your basic ruck, and your basic gear. Every soldier gets a certain set of gear. You tally up your load to see how heavy you are, and then we get our briefing, and then we start mission. And so it's fantastic. You'll see how Scott walks us through this because I'm a complete FNG with this game, and Scott walks us through in our actual play from in a way from the beginning to the end. I will put a timestamp on that for those who want to skip all that and go right into mission. So that took us almost 45 minutes to an hour, and that's fine because again, he went through the whole character sheet, really describing, what all this stuff means and how it works. And Scott's brilliant at tutorial, doing a good pregame tutorial for people. And that comes from all of his actual convention days, I'm sure, where you need to sit down at a table and very quickly get people where they're at least able to understand the context of the thing you're about to do. Okay. So my character, I describe my character, etc. And Dell gives me the handle of Gung Ho, says he calls me Ho for short. And I'm okay with that. Again, we have no choice, right? If any of you have actually earned a real nickname in your lives, you don't pick your own nickname. People give it to you. And I was given a nickname in high school and it was from my friends, not from me, right? So this is how the world works. Whether you like it or not, that's what people nickname you, and you're kind of, okay, well, what you can do about it. And in these situations, that's part of the humbling of your ego, so to speak, right? It's that this is how we perceive you, and it's also, I think, it's a way to keep cats recognizing they're part of the team. They're part of this thing that's bigger than you. And Dell gave his character, and I had multiple choices. So Dell gave me a lot, and I was thinking, I had two or three handles for Dell, and then we finished, and I said, it's. I started to tell the guys, I would give him Section 8, but, and then I realized, no, Section 8. So we call him, 8 for short. So we have our handlers, right? And again, he's a canine operator, so he has a dog, which is we use the default name from I'm assuming from his pre-gen makeup, Titan. He did tell us what kind of dog it was, but you'll have to forgive me because I cannot recall. But it's a large dog. So we're going to be halo jumping at 0300 into Mission Area, which is the Caucasus Mountains, to recover an agent from a convoy that went missing. We need to find basically a person, and I did not quite know if I didn't quite recognize it in the military dispatch that we got from the written dispatch that our target was an actual person. I was thinking it might be it was given a code name, so I was like, I don't know, is this a person? So, so I didn't go in thinking we were actually retrieving a person so much as we were retrieving a thing, right? I wasn't certain, right? And not only that, because we have been dealing, there is an assumption our operators are aware of cryptids in the world. We are not going into these situations blind. We know there are these things. So I wasn't even certain we might be recovering, a giant egg or something. Who the hell knows, right? But I missed it in the dispatch that it was a diplomat. But the convoy had gone off the grid, and we needed to go in, establish what happened, and recover. And of course, collect intel, destroy, and exfil. So that's the gist. So Will's up 0300 Halo jump. Well, you can imagine as we fly into the airspace, um, Titan in the back of the plane, ears up, on guard, hackles up. Something at the very back of the plane's going down before we can prepare to jump. We see the cargo person cross to use the toilet, the head, and we kind of calm there for a split second. But as I'm packing up my gear and going through my gear and getting ready to suit up and prepare for the jump, uh, we have actual blink. We have actual lights busting out, flashing on and off, and we have something going on at the back of the plane that is beyond just him going to the head. So I begin to investigate. I leave my pack, draw my weapon, and just slowly move toward the head as Section 8, uh, where the dog keeps the dog in check and is watching. He decides he's going to also turn and head toward the cabin as we start having things occur to the plane. Holes are blown into the plane. There is I would say a decompression, so we're starting to lose oxygen. There is rain coming in from a storm, so it could be lightning that's hit the plane. We don't know, but I quickly recognize that uh, there is, and I'm not wearing my night vision goggles, although Section 8 is, so he sees something cross and go into the head area. And we end up seeing the body of the cargo man. And I'm trying to retrieve his body when all this starts to go down. So I backtrack, I suit up, I get ready, and I put my chute on because I'm worried this plane is gonna fall to bits, and I'm not gonna be out of sorts. Section 8 does the same. He gets all suited up, but he starts heading toward the cabin to see if everything's okay. Before he can get there, he sees a tear in the cabin and gunfire going on in the cabin. The plane lurches and begins to and he immediately recognizes all the pilots in the cabin have shot at something, and eventually ended up dead. I am, as the back end of the plane is torn open, I am thrown into the roof and topple out the back of the plane, having failed a check. And my character is spinning in a way out of control at about 29,000 feet. And Dell grabs the dog, does his two-step out with the dog, and we halo jump out of a dying bird. Uh, And we successfully hit the ground after our fall. We get where we're going through the trees, canopy the trees, and under the ground, and we're able to also watch as the plane in the distance explodes. So there is no crash, there is no wreckage, and I immediately was thinking, if wherever that thing goes down, we have to hoof it to that plane. And the fact that it exploded in the air, I didn't say it out loud, but my soldier was like, okay, that's one less thing to worry about. We don't have to hoof it, 4 clicks to find this wreckage, right? So that in a way was a good thing. Meanwhile, though, we have no clue where we're at. We halo jumped out. We who knows where, how many clicks before our target. And so we literally don't know where we're at. So I immediately, being the TAC air, open up my what's called it's called Team Awareness, but it's a device that sits on your chest, and how I interact with my drone. It's how I can call headquarters, etc. And so I'm using that to try to get us grid location, because once we know our location, then we can recon where we know the last known area of the convoy. Unfortunately, there's something that is messing with my devices. So Section 8 barks at me, put your damn drone in the air. I'm like, oh yeah, right. So we get the drone up, and the drone, the canopy of the trees, um, I should say, excuse me, I do pick up on my team awareness vid that there are 8 blips headed our direction, and so we kind of quickly back away and fan out into 2 separate sides of this trail and hide. Meanwhile, I'm losing that, so I end up putting my drone up. Section 8 hides opposite side with his canine unit. And we wait to see these things approach while I try to get the drone. I need to get it up, but I don't want to go above the canopy because what's the point? And I'm trying to pilot this thing through the trees while Section 8 is seeing 2 of these creatures on our night vision getting close. And the dog is very irritated. The dog is unhappy. And as my drone pilots into a clearing, my drone picks up a woman, and then the drone is goes black. It zooms in on her face, and the drone goes black. I lose my drone basically, and immediately bring up my battle rifle, and I start to spot. I start to get in my sights the creatures that are encroaching upon Section 8. So I'm giving him protection, and he is trying to back away. And there are also 4 more headed toward me on this side of the trail, but they're about 30 yards out or so, 30, whatever. And so one of them goes after the dog. One of these creatures goes after the dog, and as it tears through, Dell's able to identify it's a wolf, but it's bigger than an average wolf, and it actually engages in a fight with the dog. And the second one starts, the 2 more close in, and they start to encircle like a pack animals. And I end up, at this point, knowing now full well they're not civilians. It's a self-defense situation. I put my 308, 1 bullet into one and put it down. And that scatters all these wolves. But before this, right before my drone saw the woman and went dead, it picked up a larger blip on the radar before it went silent. So we knew there were effectively 9 things there, and one was larger than the others. And so we got the sense as these things were moving toward us that there was something controlling them. Um, so well, when I put the one down and they scattered, I was kind of surprised. I really anticipated that somebody controlling this was going to hit us with the rest of them. And we never investigated the creature I shot, which I regret now because I think we probably should have investigated it. We didn't. I retrieved my drone, and then we said we got to find a way to calibrate where we're at. And so we got the drone up in the clearing, and I was able to get a couple of screenshots of the area before I lost the drone again, basically. And we could navigate, to a road or to a river. And we were trying to find a village, town, something that would let us know where we're at, so we can then reconnoiter where the convoy might be. And again, there was no sign of these wolves anywhere after the engagement, which, like, then now and after fact, I'm like, I think we should have investigated that wolf I put down because maybe these things were a figment of our imagination. I don't know. Again, we're messing around with unworldly stuff. I don't know, but boy, it would have been nice to know, right? If that wolf wasn't there or that I put a bullet in. So we begin to head, for all intents and purposes, here north because I'm assuming up on the map was north. So we were heading north to the road. We get to the road and we begin. We get better signal here. My drone gets better signal, and now I've got kind of an image, and we can see the road goes down, and my drone goes further north and picks up. We pick up waterfall, sound of water, heavy water, noisy, so we can figure it's a large body of water, a large waterfall, something. And but more importantly, we pick up lights just outside Forest Edge, north of us, and we pick up roaring motors like motorcycles. And so I call the drone back, and we head for for that location. And of course, Section 8 at some point says, because I want to get to some form of civilization. It's about 3 clicks, and Section 8 wants to go down to the bridge, which is about 5 clicks. And I basically say, no way, dude. I'm not gonna go 5 clicks that way when I know there's potential civilization there. And so we kind of have this debate, short-lived, but we go. And Section 8's biggest worry is how are we going to cross that river? And I'm like, we'll cross that river when we get there, right? Literally. Well, as we approach, we find there's a bridge across. It's a rickety old bridge. It's only about 6 feet wide. It's wide enough for a couple of people to walk abreast. But again, I batten down and I tell Section 8, stay with your dog here. I'm going to go across this bridge, across the river, and I'm going to go across it as fast as I can. I mean, if it's going to collapse, it's going to collapse. But maybe if I'm running full speed, I can outrace the collapse, right? Which, physically is really impossible. But again, I don't have a choice, and I'm not going to creep across this thing, you know. So I batten down the hatches and I sprint like hell across. I get across this rickety old bridge, and I let Section 8 know, come on across, but I'd come one at a time because it's a rickety. We safely get to the other side of this bridge, and we work our way through the tree line north. And as we do, we begin to get closer to this hubbubaloo, which is some kind of a rally or party. Large bonfires, metal music playing very loud, lots of people. We do not spot immediately weapons or anything. We are seeing and hearing motorcycles flying around, and we're sitting in this edge of the trees, watching this, lack of a better term, a party happening here in the middle of nowhere. And there's some cobbled together vehicles, right? There is a caravan, uh, um, uh, more of a more of a trailer type van type thing. Anyway, and I tell Section 8, well, all we can do is approach. I can speak Russian, risk it, but we approach. We attempt to speak to a civilian and ask them for directions. I mean, what else are we going to do, right? Section 8, I can tell, I can just tell from Section 8's response that this ain't a great idea, but it's too late. Because I hand him my battle rifle and I take my pistol and I tuck it where between my flak jacket and my chest, right? I've got my pistol now and I got my hand, kind of resting inside my and I approach and I take my hands out and I approach somebody and I say, "Hey, listen," in Russian. I call out, and well, that ends the party toot sweet, and we're embraced by lots of people, but particularly Russian-speaking men. We now start to notice they are well armed. They are not in military garb. They are in some kind of, they've got lights in my face, so I really can't make out. But at times, as people block the lights, I can pick up details. And I now see they're in leathers. I now see they have an insignia, and I'm able to read some Russian, and they're part of the, no, I've got it written around here somewhere, but it's Old Guard, an old Russian state. Uh, um, And sure enough, they approach, they speak in Russian. They're talking about how valuable as an American I might be and to ransom or to turn over to the police. And we have a little debate there. And of course, I have no cards to play, right? I mean, this is a difficult role play because, I have no cards to play. I mean, there's no way you are, these aren't the kind of ways that you don't go through this with violence. You can't. And so this is a tough role play because I don't have a lot of bluff. I don't have a lot of cards to play. So I'm walking up razor's edge here. And so I tell him, I said, listen, man, we were flying through your airspace and our plane went down. Maybe you saw it, I can't, maybe you didn't, but we bailed out. And we don't have any business here really. We just which is of course and it's kind of a half lie because I'm really not certain where we're at. But it's a lie in the fact that, well, we're here to retrieve something, but I don't want to give that information up, right? um, for a number of reasons. But I'm also not really lying because I'm not certain where the hell I'm at. So I'm not certain if you know, if I am in somebody's space that I was intending to infiltrate, right? Okay. And one of our rules of engagement was we did not have to be unseen. We did not have to be stealthy. So there was no reason we couldn't communicate with civilians. There was no reason we could not make ourselves known. So that was not one of our rules of engagement. So I didn't feel like we weren't able to do this. And so, and this is one of the things I love about the conceits of what we're doing in Task Force Raven is accountability. We are not just, I mean, you are accountable to your government, you're accountable to your mission, you're accountable to your handlers, you're accountable to the rules of war. And it just makes it so much more interesting because you are weighing all of these things under extreme stress. And again, I think it creates this level of risk reward that we don't get in a lot of games, right? And that is, I need to identify whether a perp is a civilian. I need to identify a perp. I need to identify whether a person is an enemy, um, a hostile, or whether they're a civilian or whatever. So you just don't go through here guns blazing and, well, this isn't Rambo, right? Okay. And so we have this very interesting for me, role play in which I'm negotiating with a biker gang basically, and they're already hinting that they can ransom me, that I'm valuable. So I actually offer a trade. I say, listen, I'll give you my helmet, man. All I want to know is where the hell I'm at. Just tell me where I'm at, and I'll be out of your hair. And it's getting tense because I realize, they why let me give them their helmet when they could just take all my shit and me, right? But and I'm prepared. I mean, I got my hand. At this point, I'm thinking I may have to draw down. Section 8 is hiding in the woods with the dog, so and he's hearing all this over my open comms. But I'm thinking I may literally have to backtrack out of here, guns blazing or some shit, right? I have no idea. Well, we hear a woman breaks it up. What sounds like an old woman breaks it up, and she orders them to allow us to be brought to her caravan. And so we went from the pan right into the freaking fire because as intimidating as these Russian guys, were that we were outnumbered and they're armed up with AKs, etc. And again, that's not fear, that's reality, right? As an operator, this isn't about fear so much. We all have fear. It's about reality that you're outnumbered. This is a no-win situation. You're putting your life in the hands of, consciousness of hopefully humanity, right? And so this is what makes it so tense. Well, we go from that into this trailer, and of course, Scott does a brilliant job describing all the kids and all the shit that we were given just from the move, just from the hike over to the trailer or to the caravan. How much shit that we're accosted with by kids and by their dogs and by the Russians calling us names. It's just it's this gauntlet. We walk a fucking gauntlet to get to the trailer. So it's brilliant. And of course, she invites us into the trailer. We're up and into that trailer, and I immediately remove my lid and I leave it on the floor. I want her to be able to see my face. I don't want to. I don't want. I want it. I want her to know that I'm. I don't want to appear to be hiding behind anything. So I remove my lid and I walk over and I kind of grab a couple of folding chairs up and set them up in section 8, and I take a seat. She pours us a vodka, and he describes this caravan is just littered in accoutrement, right? It is every square inch has got some crap in it, right? Lights hanging, and it's just packed full of shit, right? And she's smoking a giant smelly cigar, and we go into a negotiation with her. And over that time, again, tense as hell because we know we're dealing with powers, but more importantly, we know we're dealing with basically a gang, and they can do whatever the hell they want, right? I mean, we just don't have a leg to stand on. And they've got Section 8's dog, Titan, right? Outside. So anyway, we end up in a negotiation with her. We find out that this entire airspace, because I mentioned the plane, and she said, "Oh, no, 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 no. Starieva brought that plane down. Yeah, she's a dictator, and she controls this entire area, and we are free of her because we do her bidding. So we are her eyes and her ears, and so we don't really worry about her, but she should go. And so we make a bargain. And I basically tell her, if you tell us what we need to know, we're looking for a caravan, and we're looking for this woman, this diplomat, and you help us get back on track here. Give us a vehicle, let us go, let us go do our job, and then we will take care of Sterieva. And of course, at this point, I'm making a legitimate bargain, but as a operator, I'm thinking I'll say whatever I got to say to get in a vehicle, get out of here, get the intelligence, get the diplomat, and hit the exfil. I'll worry about whether I have to actually fulfill, my oath, which would be killing or taking out Starieva. And she's more than willing. Oh yeah, take the vehicle, go fetch your stuff. You're not gonna go anywhere. You're here forever. If she wants you to be here forever, you're here forever. So she doesn't care. It's like, well, yeah, go play. Go play. You're gonna find out the hard way, kind of thing. And yeah, yeah, your diplomat's out there somewhere. Go get her. But she does tell us where the convoy is, and she does tell us where the diplomat was most likely taken, a village. And so we hustle out, we gear up, we load up in a little buggy basically, and we're off uh, as fast as that buggy will take us to get the hell away from this gang. They're yelling at us, and we can hear them making bets about how long, whether we'll be alive, in the next 10 kilometers, so to speak. So we know we're up against something. I mean, clearly it brought down our plane, right? We're starting to put two and two together. And the woman that was seen on the drone that was controlling the wolves, maybe the Sterieva. We're starting to put some things together, or at least gung ho is, right? So we motor as fast as we can to try to hit the crossroads, out of this wilderness and come to the road, so we can then turn in the direction of the convoy first. And we do that. And we want to go first, examine what happened at the scene, and collect any intelligence or data there, and then find the diplomat. Because if that's true, the diplomat could have been eliminated in the convoy or something. So we do. We come to a bridge, and at that bridge is indeed what she described. You'll find your convoy on the bridge, and she points out. She tells us where the bridge is at. And so we get there. We find three SUVs. The lead car utterly destroyed, decimated, and on the other side of the bridge, the second car and the backup car are also decimated. So we park here. Section 8 examines the first wreck while I cross the bridge on foot, weapon up, uh, my NVG engaged. And as I approach, NVG off, I white light the cars and I begin to investigate the cars while Section 8 is doing the same thing. He's investigating, and he's retrieving identification if there is some, and he's seeing this damage. There's nothing that he's aware of that could have ever done damage like this to this vehicle. It's like it exploded in white hot, instant hot, melting Kevlar, melting weapons to Kevlar, and just destroying these people. But also that he can see that weapons have empty chambers, and they have been emptied out. So whatever hit this thing seemed to do it from the inside out, and cause them to have time to shoot off many of their weapons, or again the actual heat from whatever hit them might have discharged many of those ammunition, right? Again, we're speculating, but he's seeing this with his dog. The dog is on guard now. The dog is alerted because it's now cadaver. It's now recognizing cadavers, right? So I cross the bridge bothered, and again I hit the second vehicle first because in my training that would be where you would put the VIP. And of course, I see much of the same thing, except there is evidence that this thing had been peeled open like a can, and our diplomat is not here, or at least her what would be her remains don't appear to be here. But there is a case, an intel case there that's safe and sound in the vehicle. So I secure that, and then I turn to, of course, investigate the second vehicle and find much of the same damage. Section 8 picks me up in the buggy. We now know we're going to head to the village. We've got this package of intel that we needed to retrieve. Now we need to find our actual person. Irina was her code name. So we head toward the village. We come into this nondescript. I mean, it's like there's no sign welcoming you to Springfield, right? And we roll onto this place, might house, as Scott said, maybe 3,000 people at most. And it's pretty nondescript, but it's ancient in a way, hovels and we literally drive through these streets, and it's dawn, roughly dawn, but not quite. Dawn has not quite broken, but we got to be getting close at this point. But we're not quite tracking time here. We pull up to the main crossroads in the middle of the street, and I stand up in the back of the buggy with a picture of our diplomat, and I call out to people to come look at this picture. And one of the women sweeping the street has the gumption up to come over and look, and she calls her the devil woman, and she skitters away and starts yammering, and I'm like, damn, they think she's a witch or something. And Section 8, of course, is irritated. He starts barking, where is this woman? And I'm like, you need to calm down, Section 8. At the same time, some man behind us says, the mayor has her right up the street there. So, we flop down, he guns it, and we drive up to the mayor's house, which is this large home. It's opulent, so to speak. It's a clear disparity between the rich and the have-nots, as this is a grotesquely poor, area. But he has this mansion, so to speak, but no security. And I approach, I tell Section 8, stay with the vehicle, stay with the case, stay with the dog. And I go up and bang on the door. The door flies open, and the mayor grabs me and pulls me into the house, slams the door, and says, what do you want? What are you doing? And I show him the picture. He says, oh, yeah, she's here. I'll take you to her. And meanwhile, my mic's open. So Section 8's hearing all this. And so we go upstairs. He shows that he's been nursing her. She's in bed. She appears she's been nursed. And at this point, I've got my target. So at this point, it's like I'm not negotiating with this guy for her. So I basically just tell him, listen, I'm taking her out of here. That's what I'm here for. And he starts telling us a story. You can't leave. If you take her out of this house, you're doomed. You got to stay. Meanwhile, Section 8's hearing all this over my open mic. And I basically tell him again, no, you don't understand. My job is to retrieve her and get her home. And I don't care what all your nonsense is. So we're having this kind of debate as a second, and he basically says, tell your friend to get in here before it's too late. So I asked Section 8, are you seeing trouble coming? And he's standing out in the street looking around going, no, man, it's normal out here. And so the guy says, tell him to come in here. And I'm like, yeah. And Section 8 at this point is doing it himself. He said, come on, dog. And so they approach the house. He goes in the door, and the door slams shut behind him. And immediately as the door slams shut, there's banging on the door. So Section 8 standing in front of the door going, what the fuck? Who was on my heels? Like that. I'm upstairs now at this point trying to get the woman out of the bed. And as I pick her up to throw her over my shoulder, and I'm telling him, where's your vehicle? I want your keys. I want your vehicle, old man. I see a tat on her wrist. And one of the things that went down, we were talking to the old woman at the biker camp. She did a tarot reading, and she told Section 8 that she saw the sun in his she asked what month we were born and when we were born. So I told him, and she says to Section 8, she flips over the sun card or something. And for me, she flips over the moon and darkness card. And she flips over the devil card for both of us. But when I see the tattoo of the sun on her wrist, I immediately let her go and I called Section 8, dude, come pick her up. I think I'm putting two and two together. Maybe he's supposed to be handling her. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking, I don't know. Maybe there's darkness. I'm beginning to believe this woman is kind of foreshadowed, you know, maybe what kind of people we are or something. I don't know. But I'm paying close attention to the symbology here that the old woman is cued us to. And so I'm immediately saying, Section 8, come pick her up, carry her, I'll drive, let's get the car. Well, we can't find the keys. We rummage through the house, we can't find the keys. We get in the garage, we throw her in the back seat, and I go to work with my tools to try to get this car started. Well, I fell miserably. And we got the garage door open now, and there's like 40 people standing in the driveway, blocking our exit, just staring at us. So Section 8 with his dog is telling people, move along, and he actually shoots some shots in the air, trying to spook them, and they won't move. And I'm like, damn, don't worry about that, man. We gotta get out to the ghoulie and go. And Section 8 and I are arguing. Oh, that damn thing ain't gonna get us out of here. And I said, dude, that's all we got. I can't get this fucking car started. Pardon my French. And he's like, let me do it. So he goes in and he pops it open and he gets the car started. So we load her in, or she's already in the vehicle. We put her in the vehicle. We just haven't got it started. I hop in, he hops in, and we try to drive out, but these people won't budge. So I get out of the car and I go and I actually put hands on them and I kind of push one or two, and they're like zombies. They just kind of, well, they're entranced, and they just kind of fold away, and they let us, as I'm leading the truck out of the crowd. He's driving right on me as I'm walking out, right? And as the crowd parts, we come face to face with this 6 foot, elegantly dressed, colorfully dressed woman, and it's the woman that was in my drone at the beginning. So I immediately recognize, oh shit, this is Starina, right? This is the woman, the woman who runs the place, right? For lack of a better term, a dictator, as we were told by the old woman. And I tell her, look, listen, she says, hand over the woman. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. We're here for her. We're going to take her home. I'm not giving you the woman. And she keeps saying, give me the woman. And at this point, I feel her powers. And I fail a presence check, and actually my psyche suffers a hit. And so now I'm kind of now affected by her, but I'm not under her control or anything. So at this point, I realize, oh shit, dude, run her over or what, something. I don't know, but get us out of here. So I go back, I climb back in the vehicle, and I won't at this point look at her. And Dell drives right up to her, with a car and says, get out of the way, lady. And of course, she works her mojo on him. And of course, he suffers the same. He fells it, but he doesn't lose complete control, but his psyche's damaged. And he says, lulls his head toward me and says something to me about, dude, we got to get her out of the way. And I'm trying to muster up the guts to get out of the vehicle when the diplomat in the back moans and says, kill her. And so I open the door, stand up, and because for me, this was an order. I see this diplomat as somebody that can give me an order, right? I may be wrong about that, but I don't need much coding to put a bullet in her. So I pop up, I hit the giggle switch, and I unload. Before I know it, the entire clip, 19 bullets, are unloaded into this witch, or whatever, and she you know, falls over or rolls over dead. And I get out, I go and I kind of nudge her with my gun and kick her over. And he's barking, get back into the truck, let's go. The people now are kind of out of their stupor. And they're, I think, somewhat in shock as they're kind of moving away now from the whole area. I climb back in the vehicle and we take off like a bat out of hell. And as we do, Dell looks back in his rearview mirror to see the crowd dispersing and sees her standing in the street watching us as a smoke explosion happens, and that's it. Session ends there. So Section 8 in the rearview mirror catches her not dead, right? She's standing in the street right before a pop smoke, before smoke goes. And that's where it ends. And it was It was fantastic. It was it is one of those things though, because it's a genre we don't normally do, and I've never done, that you're not certain how much of this is occult, how much of this is supernatural, how much of this is something that can be dealt with traditional means. So these experiences, you now start to, as a character, but as a player, you start saying, okay, we're not going to be able to deal with her in conventional means, right? As a player, you start saying, wait a minute, what are we dealing with here? We need to identify what we're dealing with and how we can deal with it. But as a character, I'm at this point, I'm saying, listen, my mission is just to exfil with this, with the intel and with her. That's all I care about is exfil. So my character is still thinking, let's get to exfil, let's get the hell out of here, right? And that's it. But a game like this, you have to also recognize, oh, for us to succeed in the long run, there may be a particular way that we have to deal with this cryptid, right? This creature, this power, this force that is not going to be done with bombs and missiles and guns, etc. But that's part of the fun of this is you are a well-equipped operator capable with capable weapons, etc. But not everything you deal with is going to be a physical manifestation or even something that can be dealt with in such a way. But you have to find that out through play. And that's you have to find that out through experience. And that's the great fun of it is now what are we dealing with? Again, gung ho. My character, gung ho, doesn't at this point. I really don't want to believe that she has any control to keep us here, that she isn't some omniscient power and force. And I just want to get exfil. I want to get out. I want to get to the LZ or get to exfil and get the hell out of here, right? The whatever these people do in their countries, that's their business, right? You know, whoever their dictator is, that was my mission was not to rescue this region. My mission was not to liberate these people. Now, I made a deal with the old woman that we would bring her down, anticipating, that I needed to say what I needed to do to make the contract. And of course, willing to do so, as long as I'm not, it's not a breach of, act of war, etc., right? An act of, so anyway, and of course, even when I shot on her, it was because the diplomat told me to kill her. So I took that as a direct order. Doesn't make any difference whether it's real or not. My character, he needed some sense of authority to tell me what we had to do. And so it was fantastic. And so what's great about something like this is we have dilemmas, not only, combat dilemmas, not only this kind of physical dilemmas of facing a wolf or whatever, but you also have these kind of, I won't say moral dilemmas, but they create these. I won't say moral because again, the moral thing is a whole nother compass. But we have this because of rules of engagement, because of the rules of war, right? The legal, contracts of war, etc. We have all these things that kind of hold us accountable, right? But we're in these situations where self-defense is one thing, but so we have to weigh all this, which just creates a much more dynamic, uh, a dichotomy of conflict, of want, and how we can resolve something, and also this combat, this kind of internal conflict of um, what can I do? What can I do? What's legal? What isn't legal? And what do I have to do just to get the mission solved? It creates this very fun kind of internal conflict even, right? And at the same time, we know we may be dealing with life-threatening creatures and stuff like that, which we have no qualms about, eradicating from planet Earth, so to speak. But fantastic. 4 hours. We talked for a little while after. The setup took us 45 minutes. We talked for probably 45 minutes or another 30 minutes after, but there's a window there of about 3 hours of session time and maybe 2.5 hours of session time. Fantastic. So I want to thank Scott, number one, for running it for us. I look forward to the next session, and we will do another session. Um, if you haven't seen his work, Task Force Raven, Neon Blood is available. He has another game called abbreviated OSR for obliques. Obliques are muscles. Obolet's, shoot, I can't remember what it stands for, but OSR stands for three different things. Anyway, he has an, a unique game engine, I think, for that. I don't think he's using a particular engine. And then he has other things on the plate. I mean, he's working on a campaign book for, I think, Dragonbane. They're working on a dungeon for Shadow Dark or something. They're working on a lot of stuff there, he and his colleagues. So um, I would sub up to his channel. He may have information coming out on that as he does these things. I don't know. Those who are familiar with his work will already be familiar probably with his Drive-Through RPG channel, his Drive-Through RPG page, where you can see his and buy his PDFs, etc. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Great game. And everybody out there have a wonderful weekend. All right. Bye.